Peace. Man. Man. Happy now. In fact, my screen a little bit off. Happy now. Now's the vibrate. Of course, not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now, gonna be one of those videos where I'm gonna just let sauce drip all from all different little places, but most importantly, and just generally, I just want to speak on the state of vibrations in this moment. Like what's going on around us. A lot of us is like, getting overwhelmed by the different little energy fluctuations. Matter of fact, you got negativity being transmuted out of us, but it's also coming out, bubbling to the top. So you're like, damn, why I'm going through these negative thoughts, or why I'm revisiting when I went to jail back in '06, or why this coming back up, or that's coming back up. In a lot of these cases, a lot of transmutation. I think of the story of how Dr. Sebi talked about when he first cleansed his body, and he went blind for a few days because when he cleansed himself, like all the dirt, was coming from the top, from the crown, and going through his body, and it was passing through the eyes area, and it had him to where he couldn't see for a few days, and then eventually, it all came out of him. Kind of like going through that darkness to get to the true light, literally and figuratively speaking, because he was blind for a few days, and he was saying, like, something told him, like, I ain't gonna be, I could, like, even though it was startling, he's like, I felt inside me, in my heart, that, I wasn't going blind for good. So, have that analogy as well, as far as just, us going through the darkness. But just want to, speak in general also about right now, we're going to be getting away from creating this preacher vibe, indirectly. That's why my phone was cracked, and, why I wasn't able to deal with my phone. Because for one, it's getting closer to that time for us to deal less with our phone, unless we're doing something extremely productive with it, like making a video to help raise the vibrations, or whatever the case may be. And that doesn't mean you should frown upon yourself if you're using it for a couple of things sociably, but just be aware that we are the technology, we are the crystals, we are the phone, we are the cars, we are the spaceships, and right now, because things are getting tight, it's just like, like any spiritual war, or like a game being played where it's now at that point where it's getting a little more serious, like it's the fourth quarter. We've been point for point, well, not so much in this situation, but let's just say, fourth quarter, things are tight, so it's time to, really step that game up. And like technology or anything from the outside is being pushed in our face heavily. So say for instance the movie Black Panther, or just anything outside of you that may seem like it giving information, like, oh, that's a pickup already. Player One, the Avengers movie, all these different movies that have some sauce in it. They got some sauce. If those of y'all not familiar with what sauce is just another word of information. That's how I'm using it. Sauce driven, but they have some sauce in these movies, but for the most part, it's also like a defense mechanism of them trying to get you focused on something outside your body. It's also trying to get you up here in your brain, because that's the whole strategy right now. The perfect weapon is somebody who's constantly going within, cleaning themselves within, and knowing that the outside world is comes second to the inside world. Like that's the most important, quote unquote weapon in this spiritual warfare is, the energy of somebody knowing that, all right, if I don't want this racist people or oppressor, or this type of energy to exist, I just ignore it. A lot of people, oh man, you just can't ignore this and that's going on. I mean, I haven't been watching the news like religiously every day of my life, and I've been making it, so far, 31 Earth years later, and I'm receiving downloads, getting close to the source, and it didn't come from being worried about what the government was doing or watching the news all the time, you know. So that's just me and my walk. Everybody different. And two, that's why they traumatize everybody. They traumatize you, so you in a mode of like, oh man, just ignoring that ain't gonna do nothing, you know, because you in trauma mode, you know what I'm saying? You trap a little rat in the corner, this and that. They don't really think of a long-term decision to save themselves. They're thinking of like short, quick, you know what I'm saying? Because yes, we're moving in the now, but you're moving in the now with the past and future in consideration, in essence, you know. The past lessons and the future actions is in consideration when you're in the now. So the veil is lifting, and again, the things that are trying to come across you is an energy. And also energy jumps through any and everything. So it could be your spouse, you know, that you've been together for years, but they happen to get into some anger mode or some type of lower vibrational mode that invites other lower vibrations. And you'll have a day where they might do something where it feel like they literally felt like they consciously, purposely was trying to energy vamp you or take you off. And it wasn't necessarily that they purposely did it. It's just, man, the energies that's, you know, necessarily behind the scenes, for lack of a better word, was really the up front in the scene. But these energies move through whatever vessel it could attach itself to. That's why the energetic vessels of like, you know, if you raising the light, then the higher beings could see that light and they could contact and, you know, deal with you. If you dealing with things that's putting holes in your aura and lowering your vibration, and those things are gonna be able to work with you, you know what I'm saying? And you definitely don't want to deal with that. But, you know, again, it's the energies moving in that type of manner. Also, get from out of your brain right now. Of course, things are seeming chaotic. You know, you like, damn, how could God love me when all this chaos going on and this and that? But that's where the most important thing, you know, back to the carnate love thing of going in the heart, you know, the Christ consciousness, go within the heart. Because at this point now, it's becoming dangerous to be a thinker or overthinker. Now you can mess up your psyche for good, or you could just throw your whole little spiritual growth off by being too much in your brain. So that's another important thing to remember. Get away. The brain and rational mind comes second to the heart. You know, like the government been trying to push that left brain logic side of all of us since the beginning. The subconscious is, you know, easily programmable in that sense. Well, to a certain extent, I'll put it like this: or whatever you teach the subconscious, it sucks it up and holds on to it. You know what I'm saying? So you got that vibe as well. I forgot where I was. That's another thing, though. We're moving to a point of just letting the information flow. It ain't about making no point. Whatever I was talking about, it'll come back to me. But just definitely talking about being, the thinking, getting into the heart space, you know, and see how spirit's like, oh no, we're gonna get back to this subject. Getting in the heart space, because, you know, I had a situation out here where, you know, I was opened up because sometimes in my little optimistic, super positive vibe, I don't see the real, the demons that's lurking in certain places. I'm somewhat oblivious to that because I'm only seeing the silver line, the clouds, everything, you know, in which we're all different in our matter. I see purposely, you know, I'm meant to hold that high vibration, because if I don't, who will type of vibe, and you should think about your individual growth in that manner. But I had a situation that opened me up to the fact that in Hollywood or in LA in general, man, there are CIA agents and all these different types of, agents. Matter of fact, whether it's inner agents from manifesting within you, but for sure, like actual agents that are constantly, like, you know, trying to see what's going on, like probing to see like where people at spiritually, or trying to send somebody in a certain direction that's not good for them, but they present themselves in a You know, if say for instance, since I got this own thing on and all this, you know, they're gonna be in a presentation of what's comfortable to you, like any undercover agent. You know, when you watch the movies, you know, if they trying to be undercover with the mob, then they gonna dress and look like a mobster. You know, same thing out here. You know, it's spiritual warfare and they're against the true spiritual light, so they dressing up looking like, you know, a person that's on the high vibes, but they probing and doing other things for information. But long story short, if I was in my head dealing with that situation, especially where, you know, LA does kind of have like that, everybody, you know, smiling in your face, you know, oh yeah, this and that, you know, and it's like it's a lot of smoke screens. But if I'm in my brain, man, I'd be done call everybody an agent. Like if you're in your brain, you're too much in your logic, and your logic is not dealing with your heart and your true feelings and feeling a person. Because you'll throw the baby out with the bathwater on both sides of the fence, whether you consider yourself white or black, you know what I'm saying? Well, if you was in your brain, one black person throw you off, then you could think all black people are bad. Or if one white person throw you off, you just like, oh, just visually in your brain thinking like, all right. But, and that's another little vibe that those agents try to promote indirectly. You know, like I think of one coming up in which, of course, there's a situation where the how can I say, the structure of the way the oppressor set up things is for, you know, the quote unquote white man to be on top. But I think about like how some agent type of entities that come like, oh yeah, man, don't you just hate white people, this and that, like trying to make a general statement for you to kind of go along, just to probe and see where you at and stuff like that. But again, be in your heart space, you know, feel the vibe of how to handle things, you know, go to your intuition, go into your heart. Oh man, well, how you do it hard? Meditation, eating healthy, you know, you are a walking universe. What you consume on all levels opens you up to different things, you know what I'm saying? Are you eating right? Are you watching the right things or looking at the right things? Are you listening to the right things, quote unquote right things, as far as what's good for your spiritual growth? But it's little situations like that, you know, where if you're in your brain, you know, in your thoughts, you be creating little situations that don't exist. That's the whole reason why the agents are like, I wonder what the, you know, how people waking up, this and that. They're in a fearful place. They're in their thoughts. They're in their logical, fearful place. So, you know, they're not gonna, you know, you don't get no spiritual connections from that place. So it's definitely about going into the heart right now, you know. Matter of fact, analysis, you fall into analysis paralysis, you know, it's like, and especially, again, back to questioning the spiritual growth of, or just a whole raising the vibrations on all levels. It's like, well, man, I thought a tsunami was gonna hit Venice, or I thought, you know, this, or, you know, this and that, or, you know, just being all in your thoughts is just creating these little what ifs, and you just, again, taking yourself away from being. And matter of fact, that's another thing. Anybody who's trying to put you in your brain indirectly, and this is the thing too, is getting to the point where it don't matter if this your cousin, your mama, you know. I laugh because I I was about to say the Pope, like the Pope. At one time that terminology, oh yeah, oh you like the Pope, like that's supposed to be a goody two shoes position. Like that's not the worst position, but anyway, you know, it could be anybody. Like if they're trying to put you in some thinking or in your brain type of vibes, man, and that energy is moving against your soul. No matter how you slice it, it ain't even no, well, you know, matter of fact, that's your brain, that's your logic right there. Well, you know, logically, this is my cousin, so they will. Logically, this is my mom. Logically, this person wears crystals, so they, you know, and they say Om, and they say they meditate, so logically, I wouldn't think they would be vamping me. Ain't about the logic. That's another thing. Kick that logic out of the door. You know, that divine feminine energy, you know, it's not a logical thing, you know. And just dealing with source in general, you know, the energy of the the supreme. And speaking of that, like, well, when we say source, don't forget that source is you. Ye are gods, your higher self, all that, the ancestors. That's all you. That's all just inner aspects, of ourselves. And when we speak into source, though, because I had to bring this up, how you got the situation of like you have the supreme architect, for lack of a better word, that source, because honestly, source shouldn't even have a name. It's an unexplainable thing. It can't even be put into logic in essence. But there's also beings that created this immediate universe, or this immediate little spot that we are in. So when we go to, a lot of people wondering like what's going on, on this planet, this and that, bro. There's a lot of other beings tied into this situation. As above, so below. Think about a different situation where I wrote it down. Oh, so like you create the game. All right, I create the game San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto. This is not my game and none of that all copyright bull crap. I'm just speaking on it. But anyway, like you create a video game, and those beings within that game, say for instance, as if they were to become sentient or within that game, in essence, they have their own sentience, let's just say, they're gonna call the creator of that game, God. Like, our great God so-and-so who created this universe, this matrix that we're in, you know what I'm saying? That's one level of God. Then you got the fact of who created the person who created the game, and that's where the hierarchy of fractals, that golden spiral ratio, just reaching out on the infinite level, So when we speaking of source, there's just that complete everything source, but a lot of you are speaking to the creator's God. Like when you're asking about like, man, why the matrix is popping off like the way it's popping off, a lot of y'all are thinking more so to the the gods or beings that's over this situation immediately. Because again, the complete source, the all is everything and everywhere, but at the same time, it's like it's such a mass thing that it's not particularly dealing with us hands-on in that manner. It's like me consciously helping one cell in my foot right now. It's just a bigger scale. And you see, even with me trying to put a definition or something on it, when you try to intellectualize God, it just doesn't work. And that's when things get confusing. The reason why people going crazy too, because they up in their brain trying to intellectualize something that is infinite and that shouldn't be intellectualized, something that's very illogical and paradoxical. You know what I'm saying? Like the paradox of like, matter of fact, I think about my brother. Shout out to my brother Josh. Matter of fact, Elevated Perception on Instagram. Shout out to my brother because he came up like, the paradox or the paradise, like it's like a paradise. You rolling. There is chance, but there's also you manifesting things through your vessel as well. And it got like a little paradoxical vibe of like, well, how could I be manifesting things if I'm just a vessel for something else? You know what I'm saying? It's both. You know what I'm saying? You both exist in the physical and the non-physical. We are all that. And when you go to try to intellectualize in this, you could, you drive yourself crazy. You just kind of go with your heart's intuition, vibe with what information is being brought to you, or whatever the case may be. But when you go to wondering, like, if the earth is round, if the earth is flat, whether it's round or flat, it's a jailhouse anyway. Just do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Do your work, and then as you're doing the work, source might whisper, this motherfucker is whatever, you know what I'm saying? And all right, you get to know your little answer that doesn't really help you in a situation, but it's extra knowledge nonetheless. We're all here to, to learn things as well. But again, it's very, very, very important to get in that heart space and practice. It's like lifting weights, you know what I'm saying? Like to get your intuition strong, start moving through your day without that GPS on your phone. Back to the phone situation, making you go outside yourself. The more you go outside yourself, the more you're taking away the power from within yourself. Somebody knows that. That's why they're trying to make like this tablet I got right here. I noticed when I went to get this, which the camera a little poor, I'm end up probably getting another one. But it's kind of cheap for a tab. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cheap. And I caught the download. Yeah, a lot of these electronics gonna be cheap. It's trying to get everybody to consume and be outside their body. Because that's the main. That is what's the battle right now. It's something trying to get you to focus outside of your body. In essence, against you focusing within your body and knowing that enlightenment is already in you. You just got to start following your inner source. And another thing that's important, that's why I'm going to be slowing down with these videos and back to getting out of having that preacher vibe, As much as, I may say things that resonate with you, at the end of the day, is what resonates, what your heart, what your inner intuition, your inner guidance is saying, because we all have unique soul signatures, unique little purposes. And the way I think about a certain situation may not be the way you think about it, and rightfully so, you know what I'm saying? Because we build it, and the only way to necessarily build is by having, different vantage points. I'm channeling certain information differently because I grew up in Louisiana, in the hood, and around melanated people, and so I'm gonna have a different perspective compared to so and so who grew up in China around Chinese people, or so and so grew up in Europe around European. Like we all have these different little vantage points, so to speak, that gives us different experiences, and therefore with the different experiences we could bring forward different vibes of information together, instead of like all of us like marching to the same tune. So it's like nothing is allowed to build because we're all acting and being the same. That's why it's so important for us to break the mold of getting away from doing everything our parents taught us. Think about it like that, bro. And I thought about that earlier in the game. I'm like, so wait, the way we was taught is like you come down, so I'm born just to do exactly what my parents tell me to do. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no new freshness coming to this place. Like I'm just coming down just to do exactly what my parents taught me, so I could teach my kids to do exactly what my parents taught me, and then they could just keep the same thing, the same old thing in rotation. Like, nah, that ain't, it's about breaking that mold and getting into, moving from the heart, moving with your own inner guidance, Because again, we'd be a bunch of zombies if you didn't have your own, vibrational signature, and if you wasn't moving from your heart. Because it may be somebody that rock with crystals, be from Louisiana, like loud bars, smoke herb, do all the things I like to do, and all this, but it's still gonna be a little difference in the way we operate and choose to do things, and rightfully so. So again, as I speak on these videos, you resonate or relate to whatever information, but at the end of the day, most importantly, it's all about the heart. Like that's the main thing right now, is getting out of the brain. Oh man, you mean don't think? Nah, you're gonna be thinking after your intuition and your higher self, tells you something. Then you could analyze it with your brain and then do what you gotta do, move how you gotta move. But as far as just being in your brain first and foremost, like, and what's funny how the knowledge has to get taught in order for the the oppressors and people of this nature to keep doing what we call messed up shit. Excuse my diction, but in order for them to continue doing that, to a certain extent, they gotta still keep it real and let truths out. So I think about the little saying like what it is, an idle mind is the devil's playground or something like that. But literally, like when you up here too analytical, Then, matter of fact, shout out to Andre, man, and Kid Cudi. I forgot if the song name Frequency, but you know what? Andre was like, when you're thinking too much, you're removing what's moving. That's all I've been telling people, man. Like, stop removing what's moving. And when I say that, I be talking to myself too, cause we reflections. If I'm reminding a reflection of it, that's also a reminder to myself. You know, just like I'm happy now. Now's the vibrate. As I'm doing that intro, that's also a reminder for me as well. It's another thing, being humble and not being too stern, of not how I say, like getting to a point of not wanting to learn a certain lesson or feeling like you're above somebody just because you know some knowledge or whatever. Reason why so much information flows to me is because I realize I'm a student. And I really don't know shit to a certain extent. I mean, of course, I got all this information within myself, but it's not nothing to put, me on a pedestal or whoever else, I'm a constant student. I'm constantly learning. And of course, indirectly, it's gonna have a teaching vibe to it, because in order for somebody to teach something, they had to be a student of something in order to teach. So of course, but I'll be like, man, I'm a constant student. I'm constantly learning. In fact, a little kid, 4 years old, come up to me, man, I'm all ears. In fact, a brethren did that the other day, which was pretty cool. He was rapping crystals in Hollywood, and some little kids come up to him, and he kind of was like, wait, the little kid was trying to say something. He was like, all right, hold on. Almost everybody answers, he's like, all right, I gotta really listen to you because you're about to teach me some stuff. He said it just like that. I'm like, bro, I was so tight the way he kind of just, laid that out there. Like, those, we learn from everything, the trees, things that seem like they're silent, it's teaching, and giving lessons, down to the children. But that was one of the most important things, moving into the heart, developing the heart, high self, source, intuition, however you want to call it, but developing that inner guidance system is what's really important right now. Because the more you're feeling like you have to depend on somebody else's videos or something outside of you, is the more and more we're being pulled away. And ain't nothing wrong with getting information. Of course, we taking up information from different places, and that's a great thing. But it's when you like sometimes we may be getting information for some ego vibes indirectly, where I'm getting this information so I could be considered this type of person, or so people could consider me in this nature, like, nah, get the information because you're interested in it, or because you love it, or or because it's gonna help you on your walk, not because I get to this status when I get this information. And that's not to be confused with, like, if you got a certain profession and it's like, all right, I get this information and then I'm able to do this work. But to look at, like, Zen is good about teaching this. Like, when you meditate and anything, if you're looking for some outside outcome or something, to be something from what you're doing other than just being, then that's the ego kind of hiding within your spiritual practice, trying to find identity. That's why I be like, oh, you a shaman? Nah, man, I ain't no shaman. Oh, you a master teacher? Man, nah, I'm a student, you know what I'm saying? And which a student and these other things could like a student could be a label, just like a teacher, of course, but just to say, like, I'm just being, I'm not, because that's another thing of somebody trying to get you to label yourself. Because matter of fact, in LA, you got a lot of Hollywood handlers, people that know MK Ultra, people that know how to put you into that sunken place. Y'all watch you get out, bro. They got a lot of they got that vibe around here, so you gotta be careful of the conversations you having and what people trying to make you pay attention to. Like somebody, like say for instance, somebody like, oh man, your jewelry is beautiful and you must be a shaman and this and that. Like instantly, like my ears kind of raised, like, you trying to make me identify with too much, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's how serious that's why I was brought to LA too on another level, man, because the wizardry game and all that is very it's definitely on a nice little level, man. It definitely teaches you a lot to be out here and deal with some of this smoke screens and situations. You know, down to like, well, you might hear the word "I love you" a million times from somebody, but they never invited you to their house. It's like little simple stuff like that that you could notice. You know, that really says something. Because again, moving with the heart, my logic tells me that you smiling and saying "I love you," oh, that must mean you like me or you love me. But what I'm feeling right now says otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's becoming important. Because I might see a brethren. Matter of fact, shit, brethren might still, let's just say for instance, might have a Confederate sign tattooed on them. And then I could logically look at that and be like, all right, you gotta be a KKK or dealing with that energy. And then, as I catch the vibe feeling wise, and then once we go to talking or, whatever the case may be, it's like, damn, I really, they really vibed out. Like, he had the Confederate flag on, be talking about, yeah, that shit was fucked up, and, black people waking up, like keeping it, keeping it real on so many levels, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, damn, I about to be in my brain and prejudge, but, the heart, the emotions, is where the real knowledge and flow at. That's another thing, too. With that, don't forget, like, all that black people, white people, stuff like that. And I tell people, within this matrix, yes, neuromelanin is something that is waking up within people. Some people have it, some people don't, some people using it, some people not. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's more of an energy thing, but it would be ignorant to say that it isn't a thing of what do you want to call it, carbon or melanin, neuromelanin. It would be ignorant and being blind to truthful information to act like it, like it wasn't happening. And again, that's not for a melanated person to, yeah, I'm better than, of course, love yourself, because you've been taught that you're something that you're not for so long. It's great for you to realize what you are, because in order for a body to operate properly, an organ needs to know what it is. Say for instance, if the heart was told that it was the stomach all its life, and it's been trying to digest food and trying to do something that's not in the body, all messed up, But then when somebody come along, because everything operates off of truth and love. Love is truth. If it's dealing with lies or being scared of the truth, then that's being scared of God in essence. But when somebody comes along and let that heart know, like, hey, heart, like, bro, you really a pump for the blood. You've been doing this for like millions of years before existence, heart. Maybe you should get back like me. Heart, bro. Nah, bro, they told me I'm digesting food. They told me, what you think. No, but then the heart, then the heart might feel like, but something was always in me. A little voice inside always told me, this digesting food thing wasn't for me. Like I pump blood and I have a different operation. Not saying the heart better than any other organ, but definitely has an important job nonetheless, but not for itself to think of itself bigger than anything else, because guess what? In order for it to flow properly, it got other little extent capillaries and other things that have to operate on a certain level to make sure it's operating on a certain level. So like an iron sharpen iron situation. But again, it's just within the body of the matrix. Understand that we are sparks of light on a human experience. Not humans being spiritual. People trying to get you to go outside your body. People trying to get you to label yourself as something within this matrix to keep you in it. So that's another important thing, to just know that this is a game. And I mean, to each his own on people, because it's certain levels to this situation. But to each his own on your approach of your growth. But I'll just say this much, without bashing or sounding like I'm bashing anybody's growth. But Like when people think of like economic plans and this and that, we gotta do this. You can, man, why are you trying to build up this mate? Like, you know, because even sometimes I feel some kind of way about doing videos. I'ma just be honest with you. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of indirectly giving into, you know, people going outside themselves to, you know, get stuff. But again, it's a balance. You know, as long as it's done in the right manner, you know, you're gonna grow from it. Like you know, watch a video or two and this and that, and then you go and meditate and doing your own work, then it's not harming. It's doing more good than harm in essence. But you know, even again, like for me doing these videos, like it's like, man, it ain't about nothing outside of us. You know, it's all within. You definitely don't want to get caught up, you know, in that situation. And it's a balance flow to everything. Like I'm one of the downloads too that I'm definitely always getting is for us to pass the duality test. We gotta, you know, move through the heart and move with balance. You know, like we done did the game of like, and I know this will upset people, whatever, or possibly I'm just, you know, because I know how egos get, but you know, what we once was all melanated people at one time was like, oh, we want something different. All right, give you something different. Oh no, we don't want these other colored people here, so take it away. And you know, it's almost like a person that's like, oh man, I can't wait till it get cold outside. And when it get cold, god damn, it's too chilly. I can't wait till it gets sunny. Oh damn, it's too cold. It's like, bro, what is really no way to satisfy, you know, especially the ego, but you know, just the only way to satisfy things in essence is to just have a balance to things, you know, and let nature take its course. Before trying to explain anything with words, I would just say if we all follow our heart's intuition, everything will be where it needs to be. You know, we just follow our inner guidance. At the end of the day, that's another thing. I could be saying all these different things, you know, to help you intellectualize this situation, you know, but following our heart, following our intuition, getting in touch with our higher self, you know, that's ultimately gonna bring the truth, and you know, bring the truth to your growth into your situation. You know what I'm saying? But again, we done been through these different vibes of, you know, have it like this. It's like, oh, we don't want like this change. You know, whether it was some green people and some blue people, whether it was some people made out of wood and some people made out of fire, whatever the case, been on multiple dimensions and multiple little universes, it's like just trying to find that balance, passing that duality test. You know, because too much of the sun will burn everything up, not enough won't bring light. Too much water drown everything, not enough, you know, won't bring no life to anything. It's a balance. You know, we're just looking at nature. How, like, when people talk about, I don't see color, this and that, shit. I mean, nature sees color. You know, when a bee dealing with certain flowers, or, you know, certain, just anything, like the body trying to pick up on whether something is a red blood cell, white blood cell, whatever the case may be, you know. Color is used, it's just not used in the egotistical manner, you know. And it's, again, that balance, like, well, you know, since I'm trying not to be racist, or I'm against racism, I'm just all the way not see color, you know, which indirectly, that's kind of like a reverse psychology, racist type of vibe. But, you know, some people don't catch it. Some people are being innocent when they're doing it, you know, kind of like the Black Lives Matter. Some people know what they're doing when they're dealing with it. That was funded by a whole nother situation. So, you know, again, there's levels to it on how you look at it. I ain't even getting too much into that. But again, getting in that heart space, you know, every black person not hood, every white person not uppity, every Indian person doesn't deal with Hinduism, say Om, all of the, you know, like every Chinese person not good at math. I'm just trying to use these different, like, to bring some you know, joke and light to the situation. Because another thing too, be like a kid, be lighthearted. we should be forgiving ourselves for everything. We should not be having any regrets. You know, that's why joking and laughter is good. If you find yourself being too stern or too serious about a situation on your growth, like, it, that's not where you should be. You trying to laugh, you know. Matter of fact, laughter is what helped break a lot of that little tension, you know, because even when you like you all up in the, you know, the sacral chakra area. Matter of fact, I just came across a video of Mantak Chia talking about, you know, the importance of breathing, and but like the importance of the chi energy moving in that sacrum area, you know, that dantian you know, area. But you know, bringing in laughter, being childlike, not being so frigid, you know, like, oh, I messed up on this part of my spiritual walk. I was doing this wrong the whole time. I could either beat myself up over it, or I could just realize, damn, I never did know it all in the first place. So hey, learn something new and keep it moving, because that's another thing that'll get you spiritually killed, or not say spiritually killed, but it'll definitely stagnate your growth. It's feeling like, you know, you get to that place of knowing it all, or where you like you just feel guilt, like you don't want to eat the crow of learning something new, or finding out that something that you was doing a long time is, you know, quote unquote wrong or not serving you, you know. Like, we find out, like, bro, I've been, say for instance, if somebody came to me right now, it's like, bro, meditation is the complete opposite. It's killing everybody. I'm like, oh shit, so damn, all them videos I did on meditation, you know, I was killing people. You know, like, all right, well, you know, it happened. It is what it is. Only thing I could do now from this moment in the now is, you know, move forward differently now with the new information I got. But it's not to have a regret or to get mad at myself or not forgive myself, you know. Forgive myself, love myself. Remember, everybody's a reflection of each other, you know. So if you're not loving yourself, you're gonna have not loving yourself vibrations come to you, or reflections, I should say. You know, what is love? Oh, like if you're not forgiving yourself, then, you know, people that don't forgive themselves manifesting around you and almost promoting it even more within yourself. So, you know, it's like, you know, forgive yourself, man. It's all right to mess. How they said that on Friday, players fuck up too, man. Players mess up too. You know, it's all right. God dang it. But, you know, that's definitely it. You know, just what we focus on grows. Point blank, period. It's like there's no other sauce to that, you know. So anybody's trying to get you to focus, and again, like, this may be somebody very close to you that may try to get you to focus on something outside your body. You know, don't necessarily jump to the conclusion like, oh man, this person's purposely doing it. Nah, it's just the energy moving through them. And also, don't fail to realize that if they bring that up, that's because you're challenging it or bringing it up in your, you know, in yourself. Like, you been putting it out. So say for instance, you might have been in your words, your thoughts, in some way, form, or fashion, you've been going to the outside of yourself a lot. So you might come across a person that bring up like to look at something outside of yourself, but they say it in one of the moments when you happen to be conscious. So you're like, wait, hold on, you tell me to look outside myself, you know. And then you might take it some kind of way, like, oh, this person trying to. But I mean, when you really think about it, man, it's your inner universe creating your outer universe. So if it was allowed to manifest in that manner, you know, it's something going on within yourself. But there's also be aware, you know, of course they got things that may be trying to attack you, even though you didn't have no attacking thoughts on yourself. You know, again, the paradox of the universe, you know, yeah, everything is created from within, but there's also outside things that's trying to bite at your ankles like a little chihuahua. And it's exactly like that, bite at your ankles like a little chihuahua. It ain't nothing serious. I mean, it's something to be aware of, but, you know, you give it strength by being fearful of it or feeling like it's something more than what it's not, you know. Don't give these things any strength. But definitely about going within, you know, and heart intuition, getting out of that brain. A lot of people having trouble with the spiritual growth right now because they're trying to intellectualize it. You're trying to figure out God. Think about that, man. You're trying to figure. You have trouble figuring out yourself, but let alone you're gonna try to sit around and figure out something that is so vastly infinite, and undefinable. You're gonna sit down and try to find words for that. By trying to define something with words that don't even go to giving a name to what it is, but it's a growth, y'all. We all, getting certain little places of stagnation or whatever the case may be, but it's just growing from it, learning and forgiving yourself, loving yourself. Remember, a person that doesn't love themselves can't show you love. They don't even have it themselves in order to share it with you. So it's like, man, I love you. Like, I mean, nah, it's a high possibility that you probably don't love me because, obviously you don't love yourself. And that's another thing too. We show our love, or we show anything with our action. A person could say whatever. It's about your actions. I could say I believe in God, but when I go purchase a gun, that's like saying, fuck God, this gun gonna save me. I believe in this, and we each to each his own, as far as I grow with that, because it is levels of certain things too. Because when I say that, it's not no complete black and white situation. Some people are, for whatever the case may be, from your growth, some of these outside things make our subconscious feel more comfortable, kind of like the example of all right, me on my walk, like I got all these clothes and different things, but I won't just leave my book bag by the street and be like, oh yeah, Source got me, Source gonna take care. Nah, I don't like Source got me, but then it's almost like, because that situation too is almost like putting your hand on the stove after somebody tell you it's hot. Like, of course I'm connected to Source, but I just don't put my hand on the stove knowing it's hot, or leave my books at the corner and like, oh yeah, Source is gonna take care of it for me. Like, of course, yes, high self Source got you, but and then two, that's how deep your subconscious is. Like, yeah, we saying it on the outside how much you believe Source gonna take, but we've been programmed to like, oh well, lock the door and watch over this and watch over that. And even though on the surface it seemed like a lot of that those teachings have gone away, they're still hiding, it's still swarming in that water and that subconscious, so it's to each his own on your growth as far as like how you handle that. But back to the point though, we do show what we mean with our actions. Again, a smile on the face and saying I love you, that could be shown, but what do your actions say? Do your actions show that you're always trying to help me raise my vibration the manner that I know I could? Like, are you being sneaky where you might raise my vibe, help me in one place, but then you telling me how good some unhealthy food is for me in another place? You know what I'm saying? That's like what the actions show. And sometimes you give a person that little pass as far as like, all right, this one time, and how you clear it up, you explain to them how you vibe, and that's another thing. That's why all the chakras should be aligned. Speaking the truth and speaking up on it, like, because when you speak up on it, you don't leave it up to chance. So if a person, say for instance, across a certain line, like, well, hey, I know you probably didn't know, but I don't eat meat, or I don't eat this, that, or the other. So when the next time come around, if that person still go to offer you a piece of fish or a piece of meat, then all right, do, whether it's on purpose or not, some lower vibration moving through this person is trying to keep me off of my stuff, so I can't deal with it, because I obviously told them I don't deal with this type of stuff, and they still present it to me. Then it's an obvious sign of something else. So again, it's like the actions, is what speaks, not the words. Mouth will tell you anything, but Yeah, that's definitely the whole vibration. I think that's about it. That's all I could. That's all I feel for the moment. But just on how important it is to, decipher things with the heart, not with the mind. The heart, the intuition first and foremost. The brain and rational mind, that's second, if any. To be real with you, your intuition and all that is such a beautifully strong thing that the more you tap into it, the less you know, need the logical thing. Of course you use like a rational thinking to a certain extent, but you just it becomes less and less of a necessity as you develop your intuition. And it's like lifting weights. When you walk in the gym, do you pick up do you do one curl with a 10-pound weight and put it down like, now I'm ready for the rest of my life? Now that and matter of fact, on one bicep, like, poop, like, now I'm ready for everything. Like, now, and this how paradoxical this universe is. Of course, they won't have you ready for everything. But now on another level, if you got some type of alchemy going on with your subconscious, and you're able to make yourself, your subconscious, know or think, however you want to say it, but you're able to make your subconscious know, like, all right, after I do this one curl, every muscle in the body strengthen up, something like that. It's possible, and that's another thing, and I'll probably end on that. Is everything is possible. Only thing that holds us back is us, our subconscious programming of, well, you gotta hard work, and you gotta do this to do that, and you are a vibration on a human experience that can manifest in it and everything. If you find yourself doubting yourself, then that means, do more meditation, get more healthier, watch who you're being around, what type of information you're consuming. Because if anything has us thinking that we have a certain limit to what we can do, then, that's not the business. A lot of people like, all right, but that's still that logical mind of like ego be skeptical. Well, all right, then why don't just manifest this right quick with this and that, It's more to it than that. I always use the analogy where somebody can have the ability to fly. We all got the ability to fly, but let's say somebody mastered it or they're good at it. If they're around a bunch of people who don't believe that, or matter of fact, now you say don't believe, they just can't fathom somebody flying. Like their subconscious is like, nah, we are fucking humans locked in this thing. Then if that person is able to, levitate, it would be very mild. Their powers wouldn't be as strong because, again, it's energy follows thought. Energy follows thought. So if these people are thinking, which comes from a feeling into a thought, and like, I don't think, this person could fly. I don't think. Then, in essence, it manifests. It's back to the thought intuition thing. Of course, it's all right to have thoughts. Like, matter of fact, use the word of like inspired impulses or inspired thought. You do your meditation, you vibing, and then all of a sudden a thought comes to you. That's a thought, but it's different because it comes from your intuition compared to you sitting around and just like, I wonder about that. Like, you're just kind of creating some type of thought on your own little egotistical, and ego for the lack of a better word, because we definitely got to find a better word for that. But all these words garbage, or the English language is garbage regardless. So however, whatever. But this is, just all the things to remember. But again, you could manifest any and all things, and anybody trying to put that vibration in the box, that's another person to stay away from. And again, not saying that that person may be the devil, this person may be somebody trying to hold you from your energy per se, but some type of energy is moving through them to try to stop you. So you need to get away from that person or that energy. There's both in essence. There's another thing too with that. You know, we logically and socially been taught to like, all right, we gotta keep ourselves around somebody, you know, on some feel sorry shit. I'm not gonna grow and help myself and love myself. I'm gonna sit here and suffer with my brethren. You know, I'm gonna sit here and sit in the quicksand with my brethren instead of standing on the high ground and reaching my hand out to my brethren to pull them out. You know, we taught to like go in the quicksand. That's the only way real love is shown, is to be in the misery loves company vibe, you know, and that's not, you know, it's another thing that's not true. You know, we don't, that ain't how we help each other. So when you have somebody, you know, that you love and you know it might be like a little demon getting at them, but it's like, oh, I love him, that's my partner, and the demon not always moving through him. Still, you gotta remove yourself from that person, and you see, what's the real sauce to it is like when you remove yourself from the person, then they're allowed to like learn from your absence, because all you're doing is enabling and babysitting when you're around, because then in their mind like, well, I could always fuck up spiritually because I could eat off of the energy of so and so. But when you dip for a little second and then they ain't got no more, they can't stick that straw in you no more, and well, again, whether purposely or indirectly, you know, but you know, now they're forced to grow and forced to really see that, all right, damn, I must really was vamping in this situation. This situation really was happening like this. So I'm gonna really have to grow in this area and work on this. You know, like that. That's another vibe to the situation. But again, that's basically it. You know, I'm just kind of catching whatever vibe. But it's definitely getting away from going to all the outside things and feeling like, you know, like my enlightenment comes from the outside. No, like, you know, a video on YouTube, a book, all these things, you know, may help to realize what's within, but the information itself is not, you know, the enlightenment. Enlightenment is realizing that you are walking enlightenment at all times. Like when I look at, like, and that's been a joke I've been joking about lately, like the Louisiana folk, man, back home, where it's like nobody is on the information of, like, you know, chakra, and I say nobody, but you know, it's not nothing that's taught on a broad level as far as, you know, like the chakras and the hotep this and, you know, all the little conscious little vibes and all that. That's not in Louisiana, but I'd be damn, for lack of a better word. No, I'm not, but you know, it's just a word. But if the people back home is not still getting those godly downloads, you know, but they still operating, I think, to like with the Cardi B's and the Migos of the world, you know what I'm saying? Well, of course you could see the in some cases with the lyrics and stuff like that can be very damaging to spiritual growth. But you also could see like love, like, you know, just simply with some of the brethren wearing the you know, in their videos and stuff like that, where, you know, as much as they're being taught to get away from the true soulful as much as they're being taught to get away from the soulful sauce, you know, and the godly sauce that's within them, as much as they're being taught and directed to, like, you know, go away from it, it's still permeating through. You know, and I always get that vibe of like even through the ignorance of the people back home, you know, we still do a lot of godly type things, you know. In the essence too, when you just look at the voodoo vibes and just all that. I was kind with a brethren just a while ago. I was like, you know, putting butter on the burn, you know, which that's that alchemy. That's that old hood slave mentality, you know, and not say, but, you know, coming from those times, you know, of but still the godliness and, like, you know, we're gonna make this happen, we're gonna manifest this with what we got, because we are creators. So indirectly, you know, you're so much of a creator, you could put butter on the burn and hit it, you know, like, but indirectly you're not conscious saying, yeah, I'm source and that's why, you know, but indirectly, you know, back home in Louisiana, just, and probably for most of the South in general, but for sure Louisiana and that vibe, you know, is like, the godliness is still behind the ignorance, you know, like still. But that's basically it. Move in the heart space. Get that intuition up. You know, it's getting to the point where, you know, of course my videos may be helpful, but you know, we want to be relying less and less on things outside of our bodies, you know, outside of ourselves. If our reflections is on point for that moment, you know, and two, let it not be a thing of thought. Like if you feeling like, all right, I should go watch this video on this, or I should go watch, then yeah, you should, you know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna spark up some type of energy within you, you know, that was meant to spark up. But again, everything is within, and anything, anybody, you know, that's trying to. That's another thing too. Without getting too deep into it, like with the electronics, like you know why, you know, the promotion of, oh, we're gonna deal with robots and this and that, you know. Of course, it may have some nothing is good or bad in this universe, but for lack of a better word, it may have some good vibes to having like some type of technology that could do a certain thing. But then on a certain level though, when you're getting too caught up in it, it's taking you away from knowing like, hey, I am the technology that could do this regardless of this machine, you know. So it's like a, you know, a balanced vibe, you know. Machine dealing with technology ain't no complete like, oh, it's just all the wash, it's just all bad, quote unquote bad, you know. And it's not no, oh, it's just all good. Everything is all good with technology. Everything, like, you know, good. No, but it's neither all good or all bad. It's just, you know, what we make it and the balance of that. You know. But definitely know that you are a soul spark on a human experience and not a human that's having to suffer and deal with the circumstances around them outside of them, rather than a light being that knows that, hey, I'm on a human experience, and even though it looks like I have to go through all the, how I say it, even though it may seem like the outside world dictates, you know, what goes on from it, is the opposite way around. It's like your inner universe dictates the outside world. Oh, so you saying I control everything and this and that, and you saying I'm a vessel and I don't control things too? Yep. That's the paradox of the paradise and paradise. Shout out to my brother Josh again. That's basically it. Peace. Wait, hold on, man. In fact, I'm gonna use this video of making sure nothing else coming through. No, that's it. Cause I don't wanna. I'll just make another video. But peace. Happy now. And now is the vibrate. That boy good. Tell you. Have fun, y'all, you know. No regrets. Don't punish yourself over spilled milk. Especially my Capricorn brethren and sisters. You know, we gotta stop being pessimistic and being guilty and feeling that devilish vibe from Saturn. Like, we gotta stop feeling these ways, and you know, like, it's gonna be alright. You might have did a certain thing in the past life. This life is gonna be alright. You know, forgive yourself, others will forgive you. Love yourself, others will love you. You know, move forward, others will move forward. Or move in the now, however you wanna, you know, speak on it. But man, peace, y'all. Happy now. Now is the vibrate.